Another close loss.
There it is. The hard hat is not going to make an appearance tonight, Bobby. It was very, very close to, but the Celtics fall short in Detroit, 104-103. Jaylen Brown heroics came up just short. Did everything he could. 32 points for them tonight. Missed a couple free throws that you wish he could have knocked down, but converted the last couple of possessions after that to get the Celtics back within one possession. Missoula calls a timeout. 4.4 seconds left on the clock, I believe, down one. I think they got the play they wanted, Bobby.
They did. They got the matchup. They got the shot from mid-range. It bounced around and almost fell on the carom, but
yeah,
2 tough free throw misses for Jaylen in this one. And, we remember the game earlier this season where he missed 7 and took a lot of the blame for that one. Still, as great as he's been this year and as decisively as he's been an all-star, definitively as he became an all-star today, still at times a big weakness in his game, but we'll get to all that.
Felt like a playoff game. That was the 4th and final regular season matchup between the two. We're going to get into it on the Garden Report.
Always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beating.
Oh, man. You wanted that one, Jimmy.
I know you did. You. This was one of your favorite games of the year, wasn't it?
The favorite game of the year. The shot making both ways, the contrast in styles, and just the Celtics' ability to continuously keep up with this team that's been the best in the East. The matchups are fascinating here. It's a series you want to see come playoff time, particularly in the East Finals, if it gets to that point. And you're still a little bit short, just a tiny bit. But do you feel good about how close you are, given what you have this year and given how good Detroit's been? Or are you disappointed coming out of this one that you can't quite get there?
No, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, it was a couple bounces a different direction, and then we're probably talking about a win in this one. I love what the Celtics, the competitive spirit that they have in these games. I think you said it, Bobby. It feels like, Detroit has the talent edge there, but Boston seems to have that, that drive, that competitive spirit that, keeps them in these games. And you're talking about the best team in the Eastern Conference with a guy in Cade Cunningham, who didn't have a great game tonight by any stretch, but has been playing all-star level. Obviously, he was named as an all-star starter today, and I think he got the most. Did he get the most player votes? I think he did, which goes to show what
most media votes.
No, Cade, I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Cade got the most player votes. So again, talking about a player who's just playing at an elite level, and Brown went head to head, toe to toe with these guys today, and it did suck that they did come up short. And again, the missed free throws at the end there. It feels like that happens with him a little bit too often. Those big, kind of crunch time situations, misses them both, which would have tied the game up in that moment. So again, he was able to score in the next couple of possessions after that to get Boston within one again, but he misses those two free throws, Bobby. And I think it was Harris who hits the 3 on the ensuing possession to put Detroit up 5 there, and Boston just didn't have enough to come back from after that.
Yeah, and there was a lot riding on Jaylen throughout this one. It was a tough Derrick night. You couldn't get much from him. Pritchard had his moments here in this game, but physically, this is another matchup where it feels like he's overwhelmed at times. Nice Hauser game overall. Like, you had a lot of different contributors in this one aside from Jaylen. When it came down to the crunch time moments, I mean, Anthony's impact faded into the second half. You didn't have a ton other than those Jaylen ISOs, and he was so efficient to start this one. Ends up 11 for 28. Couldn't get his 3 going at a super high rate. Got to the free throw line. So he did enough, certainly, with the 32 here. But offensively, you were just looking for more consistency from this team tonight. And the big number is going to be the turnovers, Jimmy. 14, Not a huge one, but most of them live ball, it felt like. You only forced 6 on Detroit throughout this game. And how many turned into points the other way for the Pistons throughout this one? Easy points, running in transition, dunking on you after blocks. I mean, the amount of deflections, blocks,
The steal on
steals.
Simons. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those were throughout this game. The ball control was not great. And it's different, Jimmy, right? We're so used to seeing the Celtics get a shot off on every possession. We're so used to seeing them control the game in the offensive end at well. In this game, they were not able to find spots to get space to get their shots off. They were not able to control the ball consistently throughout it. And you could tell the Pistons were just ready to jump on a lot of their actions, a lot of their ball handlers with aggressive on-ball defense. Some of the blocks at the rim were just monstrous throughout this one. So this is definitely an offensive loss. You had defensive lapses throughout, but in a game where you lose by 1 and only give up 104, there are a number of possessions. I'm sure this is what Joe will say after this one, that you're going to regret leaving on the table in a game where you lose by 1 here. But I love the compete level, Jimmy. So I don't come out of this one totally disappointed. The execution was not great, but man, was the compete off the charts again from the Celtics in this one. Specifically Jaylen, who's just up for this battle.
Yeah, I mean, Jaylen specifically for sure. And I think, again, you were kind of looking for that. Who's going to help Jaylen out in this one? And it didn't really feel like that came. Pritchard got off to a good start. You could see that he looked a little bit more rested after missing the last game. But they got into foul trouble. The bigs got into foul trouble, right, Bobby, early on. And that kind of changed the style of play for Boston. You look at at how they were able to score it. Not a lot of damage done in the paint for Boston tonight. It wasn't like they weren't really using that physicality down there like the way you might want to see them a little bit more. I think they had 32 points in the paint tonight. And, you know, Detroit, what did Detroit finish with? Points in the paint, 48. So I think the physicality, I'll give that edge to Detroit definitely in this one. And again, you know, Brown's trying to do what he can do. And, you know, we've kind of mentioned it a few times now, Bobby. It feels like that second scorer behind Brown, it's not been a consistent. Doesn't seem to be much consistency there, whether it's White, whether it's Pritchard. You know, it could be Simons on any given night, right? Depending on how he's shooting the ball or when he gets that opportunity. But Jaylen Brown is basically becoming your only really reliable, as far as I'm concerned, reliable to a, you know, talking offense here, but a reliable offensive player. And I think that's going to end up ultimately becoming a huge issue for this team. If they can't get some more consistency from, I'm talking about Derrick White, obviously, you know, White and Pritchard are the two that come to mind. And then, you know, I think Simons in the role that he's in, it kind of
fluctuates,
allows him to be inconsistent a little bit because his role's a little bit inconsistent.
I don't think that was the issue for him in this one. 24 minutes, got his shots off at spots early, but that faded as the game went on. I'm looking for the splits here in the second half. I'll get those in a sec. But the overall lack of offensive creation, I'd say, outside of Jaylen stood out in this one. And it's tough because there's on-ball defenders everywhere on that Detroit team. They're pressuring you. They're causing havoc. There's not a lot of guys to attack easily in that lineup. You're not going to go at a bunch of those guys, and they do switch. Duren was out on the perimeter guarding a bunch. All those guys, 1 through 5, can basically guard every position on that team. So they're swiping, they're fouling, they're aggressive, and it's a style that looked like it bothered Boston at times. Like, this was a good matchup for them overall. You know, you had some 3-point shooting advantage in this one. You had a skill advantage for a lot of this game. But when this became about the physicality, you know, who can make a play around the rim, who can make a big block, who can make a swipe at a ball, dive on a loose ball, like all those different things tilted Detroit's way. And a big part of Boston's success this year has been the possession battle, you know, getting up more shots than their opponent, you know, dominating the boards, all those different things. And they take less shots than Detroit in this one, and they take more threes than Detroit. But the Pistons were able to keep it close in that department for a lot of this game. So 3-point shooting was a big advantage for Boston early. I'd say it was their only decisive advantage, Jimmy, in this game. And when that faded later, they didn't have much that they could lean back on to win this game. Like, yes, offensive rebounding, they win that battle, but it's not decisive enough of a battle or of a win to, swing a game, especially when you're not scoring off all of them. The possession battle, obviously Detroit wins. That's one you have to win on most nights. Looking at the free throw battle, that comes out to 30-23 in Boston's favor. So you do win that one, but you miss the 6 shots there. And they've been clamoring for those, Jimmy, right? You gotta actually go and make them.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to say free throws are the reason why you lost this game because you made 24, and you're going to miss a couple here and there. But it's when you missed them. It's Jaylen Brown's got to hit those free throws, and I feel like we've talked about this throughout his career, Bobby. It does seem to be that is like a little bit of a flaw in his game. I mean, and again, I don't want to, he's having an unbelievable season, clearly, well worth the All-Star start that he was awarded today, but his, I don't know if you want to call it clutchness at the free throw line, has been in question basically from throughout his career. And I mean, I can think of a few times already this season where he's missed some big ones and crunch time situations.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm looking back, that 7 for 14 was indeed against Detroit. And he obviously took the bulk of that blame after that one. They win the other game against Detroit at home off the Cade free throw miss. So it's pretty funny. All of these games have come down to free throw misses effectively, aside from the first one that was like the 3rd game of the year. So it's been an important part of this battle too. When you think of how close these games have been and how closely matched these teams are, that's a tough way to lose a game, especially when I think you are the more skilled team of these two when it comes to shot making, when it comes to just putting the ball in the basket. I mean, how many bricks did the Pistons throw up for a lot of this one, Jimmy? And I guess my frustration late is, as we've talked about pretty much the entirety that we've been doing this show, do you leave weak shooters open? Do you over-rotate? Do you dare guys to make shots? And they did that for a lot of this game, and it worked until late. And so I guess it's tough to kill them, for giving up that Harris 3, for giving up the pair of Harris 3s there. I think Ivy hit one at one point, Robinson. Like, they were over-rotating off those guys big time to try to stop Cade. And in the last 8 minutes, you give up a lot of 3s to Detroit that swung this game. And it's tough, right? Because they shoot 31% from 3. Some of those guys really struggle out there.
Tobias Harris had a game. You don't really expect in that really as much, right?
Yeah. And, you gave up way too many clean looks in transition to Robinson, which I think you can probably nitpick how aggressive you were on the offensive glass, giving some of that up. I'll say this, Jimmy. Between the steals Detroit got, between the breakout scores they got in the second half in transition, and between the way they picked apart where you were going to leave open shooters, they had a good feel for what the Celtics were going to do in this game. And I think you also got away with a flagrant foul on that Shireman play too. I know JB got teed up there and they were pretty pissed about that. So you actually got a break on that play, I feel like. And then in the things that did swing Detroit's direction down the stretch, I felt like this was a game that was in part decided by coaching. I didn't love when Boston went small in this game. I didn't love the decision to go away from Garza when he seemed to have it rolling for portions of that second half. I know he got into some foul trouble there, so your hands forced a little bit. But he looked like he had it in this one, and I would have rolled with him a little more. You mentioned Simons, more consistently integrating him into this one probably would have helped a little bit. Did he have it? I don't know, but White certainly didn't in this one, right?
It's White. White is the reason the Celtics lost this game, I think, not.
And he plays 37 minutes.
I mean, he was out there for the majority of this game. 1 of 11 from the field is just oof. And then, missed all 6 of his three-pointers. I mean,
and this is what we've talked about, Jimmy. Like, I know he defends. I know he's a great player, but in a game like this, do you have the feel to go away from him when he doesn't have it? It's tough, right? Like, there's just tough. So many second guesses out of a game where you lose by 1.
I still understand why they keep him in there because he does do all those he does make, the winning plays, right? That's kind of like Derrick White's MO. I like him out there, obviously, for two-way playing ability. So you kind of live and die with Derrick White right now. And it's a unique situation because we haven't really seen Derrick White struggle as often as we have this season, I think, and I don't know if that's due to him being in this different type of a role now where he's kind of looked at as the number 2 guy on this team and he's got more attention paid to him and he can't sort of, benefit from the extra attention that, Tatum and Brown get when they're both out there. But Brown's been able to stave off those extra pairs of eyes that have been on him throughout the game. He's been able to figure it out and get his 30-plus points. And Derrick White is kind of on this little bit of a roller coaster where we'll have a game where we'll see him do literally everything. 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 blocks, 20 points, whatever it is. And we'll see a game where he's hitting those outside shots. But then we'll get one like tonight, and it's like, damn, if you can't afford. We talked about this, Bobby. If one of those guys, Brown or White, is either out of the game or off his game, it's going to be slim for the Boston to win that game. And I give them credit. They hung in there and they almost did figure out a way to win this game, and they had a chance at the end to do so. But the formula kind of holds true. You need X amount of points from Brown and White if you're gonna hit that number and end up with the win there. So it was Derrick White, just cold night from him. We have Noah in Detroit. She's going to be checking in with us in a little bit. We're going to have Joe Mazzulla sound come on here soon. So we're going to do
man, I wish I was at this one tonight. What a game.
Know. Great game. Honestly, great game. And again, Bobby, it kind of felt like a little bit of that playoff atmosphere. I mean, I know you weren't there, but you're watching it, and Noah will probably come on here and be able to give us a little bit of an idea there. But this is a team, this Pistons team, all 4 games with Boston, they've been competitive. I mean, Detroit took the series 3-1 here, but I think, it doesn't really tell the whole story and how good these matchups have been. And
yeah, the first game, it's interesting because the first game was that game where you thought, all right, they fought 0-3, just a nightmare finish on the boards. Garza's out there getting killed by Duran late, and you're like, all right, is this team going to stink this year? Like, that's your feeling coming out of that one. Then you win that great game over them, the second one, obviously with some help from Cade at the free throw line, but it's still an awesome battle. You matched their level in that game. It was another one that felt like a playoff game. It just high intensity, high execution down the stretch. You probably got screwed on that call a little bit too, but whatever. You get the ball don't lie miss, and you come out of that one victorious. Tougher execution down the line in the third game, but you chalk it up to some free throw misses from Jaylen.
What's going on with White, though?
How you competed in that one.
Is there something about White tonight?
Yeah. I mean, everybody has an off night, right? I think he's more dependent on the threes falling and tough threes falling than a lot of guys. So he can end up with some of these super inefficient nights when a lot of those don't fall. I mean, 6 out of your 11 attempts are from 3, and I'm sure a lot of them are heavily guarded, and a lot of them are far behind the 3-point line. You talk about the attachment of Detroit's ball handlers in this game. He's usually scoring around the screen. He's usually getting downhill and finding some space for himself to get his shot off, and they stayed well attached, Detroit did, for a lot of this one. So he's a guy who's going to draw some attention now, right, in the pick and roll. And when defenders stay attached to him, it can be tough for him. And, only 3 free throws. I'm sure there were some plays in there where he's hoping for a foul, in some of the high, intensity defensive plays by Detroit. So I think he and Pritchard for a lot of this game got swallowed up by some of Detroit's ball pressure, especially, taking the ball up and setting the table on some plays. But Jaylen did a much better job of finding a mismatch, attacking it quick, getting to his space, and playing physically inside. Because I think another issue in this one, Jimmy, is that he just didn't have a lot of access to the paint. Like Isaiah Stewart's in there, Jalen Duren's in there. There's a lot of collapsing by Detroit's defense in this game and being aggressive and trying to force turnovers and chaos in the paint. So it's a tough game to find space in. That defense Detroit has is right up there with any other in the league. And you've seen how challenging they've made it for Boston at times. So you feel good about how Jaylen is stacked up against it, but you're looking for some other guys to be able to create their own shot in a game like this. And really, outside of a couple Pritchard possessions, no one was able to do it.
No. Definitely frustrating. We want to remind everybody that the show is brought to you by friends at Prize Picks. You want to download Prize Picks, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, Bobby. I'm not doing a full Prize Picks read. I just want to remind everybody that that's what our show is all about here. And obviously with football coming down the lane here to the championship games next week, Patriots are still in it. We'll chat Pats at the end, Bobby. How about that? We'll let Noah go and we'll talk about the game for a minute. Obviously that was a fun one yesterday. But again, Celtics dropped this one 104-103, fall to 26-16. Anything about this loss? I mean, you lost to a number 1 seed right now. So the loss itself, it is what it is. Is there something about the way they lost or about the way they played in this, or was something that stood out to you that gives you reason to panic? Or is Derrick White, I guess, one of those, if you feel like it's becoming a little bit more common to see White struggling a bit in this role? And
I've said this a bunch this year. I think it depends on your perspective on this team. And I came into this year saying they can compete, they can go far. When you see the level of execution from them for stretches of this game, you're saying, okay, this is, especially if Tatum joins the fold here, a potential finals team in Boston. So I'm in that camp. Certainly disappointed to see the lack of ball control and just the overall frenetic approach on that end of the floor. If you think that this team's going to go far and win a playoff series, never mind 3. So that makes you feel a little pessimistic, but they look like they're every bit the team Detroit is, right? Like there's no moment in this game where you're like, oh, you're overmatched by this. You can't match up with it. I think defensively you're in a tough spot against their size. It's a tough matchup for you in that sense because you almost know you're going to lose the rebounding battle overall. But you're still grabbing more offensive rebounds than them, maybe because you're missing more shots in part, but you're competitive in that area and you minimize the damage. And this is how I described the game and the matchup here, Jimmy, as I watched it. I feel like the Celtics are the smarter team and the more skilled team between these two, but the Pistons have more talent overall and are the tougher team between the two here. And that leveled out to a pretty even matchup. So if you want to say coming out of this one, you're every bit the team Detroit is, I think you've made that argument through the 4 games here overall, even though it's 3-1.
Maybe not every bit, but I think you've proven that you can hang, right? I mean,
you
clearly.
can hang, yeah. And it comes down to crunch time. And I'm interested to hear what Joe says, because you know what Joe says a lot, Jimmy. Crunch time's a crapshoot. And I don't totally believe in that, but he says it a lot, and I wonder if that's how he felt about this one.
Well, it's great that you brought that up because we're going to go to Joe right now and hear what he had to say after this.
You have the requisite amount of plays you can clean up in a game like that, but you have like 2 sides of a hard-fought physical game, but also sloppy, 19 points off turnovers for them. Where do you land on your initial reaction for, like, is this like one of those losses that you played well, or is it something?
I mean, you just treat it like any other game. I mean, if there's 15 to 20 possessions that you have to get better at. If that ball would have went in, we would have had to watch the same plays and say we have to get better at those. So, no different than any other game. We go back, watch the tape, and get better.
Is this his answer for the rest of the year?
There's always those 10, 15 possessions, and it's 2 really good teams going against each other, and I thought the physicality was met. When you play that type of physicality, there's going to be possessions that you have like that. So we just, get better.
Joe, you guys only had a couple more turnovers than you averaged, but they scored a lot off of them. Was there something in particular about the turnovers or your ability to get back that made that so costly?
I don't know how many of the 14 were live ball. I mean, they do a great job because of their speed and obviously athleticism to be able to score off live ball turnovers. That's one of the best things they do is they make you, they punish you on those. So I'd have to go back and see which ones were live ball ones and how many they scored off those ones.
Do you think the turnovers were the main reason your guys' efficiency wasn't great tonight? Do you think it just disrupted your rhythm, or was there defensive stuff that they did, you thought?
I mean, I'll check the efficiency, from a shot quality perspective there. But I thought, again, I mean, the margins are very, very thin when you're playing 2 great teams or playing with that type of physicality and that type of environment. Honestly, I thought the game came down to 6 just 50-50 balls that we didn't come up with in the first half. We were down 8 in the first half, and there was just a couple almost steals that we had that just didn't go our way, and and Duncan Robinson gets a 3 on them and they get them, and that could be the difference in it. So, I mean, I thought there was, again, there's always 15 to 20 tactical things that we'll look at, but, I think it just came down to that.
How much stress did the Bigs foul trouble put you guys in?
In the first half a little bit, but second half none. I mean, we were in good shape. I thought Luka did a great job playing. First half tested us a little bit. X came in, gave us a couple possessions that were good for us, but in the second half we handled the foul trouble better, and it was not a concern.
Can you take us through the final possession for JB? Is that what you drew up?
Yeah. I was going to JB catches at the top of the queue. I'm going to give the commentating one, the radio one. Oh, okay. No, I mean, he got a live catch. It was a great move. Jaylen, it's a shot that he makes. He just didn't go down. So it was great execution. I'll take that shot 100 times out of 100.
Sam had it going, then gets his fourth with 9 minutes left, and then he sat. And what's kind of the calculus there? The guy that maybe doesn't.
When did he sit?
I think about 9 minutes left in the third.
Yeah.
And then he sat the rest of the third.
Yeah.
What's kind of the calculus there? A guy maybe doesn't pick up the fouls a lot and has it going, but also you don't want him to sit.
I mean, he played for the most part somewhat of his normal sub pattern. He came out at 9 in the third quarter, the 9 minute mark.
Unless it's after he got his fourth foul, he came out pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was at 9. I can't recall. I think he played close to his usual sub pattern. I have to look at that. I don't remember, but there wasn't really anything in there. I mean, he's a guy that I would trust playing with that anyway, but I don't think it was there. I'll look.
What were the ways you felt like you did answer their physicality? In the second quarter, they kind of were loud with it. And
we did answer?
Yeah, what are the ways you felt like?
Free throw line. I mean, we took 30 free throws. I think that's the last time, the first 3 games we played against them, they averaged 30 free throws. I thought our ability to be physical, get into the paint, play with contact, shoot 30 free throws against them. I think that's where we handled it. And I think we had some situational rebounding that, we were able to get out and run and especially in the third quarter, win the third quarter, they could go down 2 in there. I thought those 2 areas we kind of did that. Yeah.
Baylor nearly played that entire third quarter. What have you seen from him in terms of his growth, making the right read at both ends and just putting himself in the right positions?
Yeah, to me, his growth is more about his defensive versatility. I mean, he has the confidence to play on the offensive end, and he's there. But there was a couple possessions he was on Stewart, a couple possessions where he was on Cunningham. Sometimes he'll guard the best player, sometimes he'll guard the big. So I think just his continued growth in our defensive physicality and system is kind of where he's made the most growing, and where you build a level of trust. He can go out there, play cross-match, and make plays, and does a good job of rebounding as well.
Joe, sorry if this is a dumb question, but you said the 6-12 loose balls in the first half is kind of where...
It was like 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Like that, yeah.
Is that, there was just unlucky plays, or are those plays you can go back and say...
Expected turnovers, yeah. There was a couple of them that we had right there, and it just didn't. Yeah, it's just... I would say the only one that we should have gotten, I think, was the Duncan Robinson one where he kind of heaved it up there and Kate Cunningham got it and went there. That might have been the one that's one that we have to have. Others, I thought, they were near turnovers or almost or great plays. We go and we just don't come up with it and they get it. I think that was the only one where I'm like, got to get that one, especially to end the half. That's kind of a play that can make or break a play at halftime. But I'd say those the effort, physicality was there. If that shot went in, our edit would be watching the exact same clips that we have to get better at. And that's just how we have to approach it.
Joe, you said the game came down to those 50-50 balls. Can you coach anything about it? I mean, it's inherently 50-50, but
No, I mean, it's just the nature of the game. The nature of the game. We coach on the things that we could do, and I thought we did a great job of those the stuff there. And just said no. We'll show a couple of them, but it's really just out of our ability to force turnovers. They only had 6 tonight. We come up with 2 or 3 of those. That's 10. Maybe we get a thing. It's just little stuff like that.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Joe Mazzulla after the Celtics dropped this one 104-103. Yeah, he's not panicking. There's not much emotion from not a very emotional Joe after this loss. Chalking it up to some 50-50 balls and 15-20 possessions that they just need to be better on. So nothing seemed to really stand out to him dramatically in this, and no questions on Derrick White and by anybody there. So. Didn't really get any information on his stance on how White's performing as of late.
I didn't notice what Adam mentioned there, that he sat from the 9-minute mark in the third until the 7-minute mark in the fourth, and he was a massive part of the first half, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Hauser was starting to find that shot a little bit more. Obviously, he took 21 threes. A couple nights ago, I missed that show, but heard all about it.
You missed the Hauser show.
Yeah, I missed the Hauser show. 4 of 7 tonight, but That's probably a fair second guess by Adam, if that's what he was getting at, of,
4
why Hauser
fouls.
misses the time.
You missed most of the second half. I mean, we talk about it a lot, right? Sometimes the foul trouble, the coach puts you in it more than the game,
Right.
the opposing team does. And, you take him out of that half effectively from that point on. In favor of Shireman, who, I do find myself rolling my eyes a little bit at that thing, right? Like, he's 1 for 3.
The Shireman experiments.
I know you're getting fed up with it, and I'm kind of with you, Jimmy. Like, I know he's finding pockets that contribute and help, and when he's out there, he's doing some stuff, and I like that he's staying in the mix, right? But he's not making
He's giving you nothing on offense.
On the game. Yeah, and
he might be able to defend. Great, he can defend.
Is that what you drafted
guys.
him for? Defensive specialist, like.
No.
There's got to be some ways you can get a little more out of him. People talk for how long did you say, you can get rid of Hauser because Shireman's good? It doesn't look like that's the case at all, whether it's due to him and who he is or the way you utilize him. But he is certainly not a fill-in for Hauser at the moment.
Not even close. I mean, Hauser had a frustrating start to the year, but you know what Hauser's capable of. We still don't really know what
big nights.
Right. We still don't really know what Shireman's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of out there. He's just kind of like player B out there on the court.
Doing the Romeo.
Generic player that is just doing basketball things on the basketball court, but not really doing anything great. And
I'm not knocking him, right? Because I don't know if he's capable of more. I feel like
I just think again, a night again. This is another example of a night where they needed offense, right? I mean, your second best player couldn't hit the broadside of a barn tonight, so.
And he's out there the whole second half.
And he's out there the whole time, but you're not surrounding him with other scorers, right? So again, Shireman's not going to pick up that
scoring slack.
Yeah, that slack, pick up that slack there. So you ran into that issue again. So again, offensively, the Celtics are left, searching a little bit, and credit to Detroit too. They're obviously a great team, and they play hard on both ends of the court, so they make everything difficult for you. But Hauser's a guy that he's a pro at what he does, right? He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He has been for the last few seasons now. I mean, he took 21 threes a couple nights ago for a reason, right? Because they want to get him those shots, and they believe he's going to hit them. He hit 10 of them. So tonight, 3 of 7. There's no reason. If you can get 21 3-pointers off, you can get more than 7 off on a game where you're searching for some of that offense and some of that production. So I do think that was a little bit of a miss there. If you're going to second guess Joe on something, it's probably that, the rotations there in the second half, or specifically the third quarter. So, we put up the stat line here. Thanks, Amit. There's a stat line, everybody. 3 points, 1 for 3 from the field, and 15 minutes for Baylor. So again, Noah might come on here and crown him for, an unbelievable 15 minutes, but not what we're going to do, Bobby. So that's one part of it there. We do have Jaylen Brown coming up at some point. I know that Noah was able to get down on him. We are going to talk a little Jayson Tatum later on in the show once Noah gets on, because she was at the workout today and had eyes on Tatum's workout. And there's a big video up on CLNS Media YouTube page if you guys want to check out and see how Tatum looked out there. We're going to get everybody's take on just what it means for this team. Joe Mazzulla didn't want to touch it pregame. He was asked about it, and he just said he failed medical school, so he wasn't going to go into any sort of detail on what Tatum looked like to him or any sort of timelines. There's just as much information today as there was yesterday. It's just now that we have a little bit more footage to base our predictions on, I guess, Bobby. But anything else from this game that you want to touch on? I mean, I know that we haven't hit on everything, but I don't know if we've even talked enough Jaylen Brown, to be completely honest. 32 points again from him tonight, and it just feels like he's able to just get whatever he wants right now. And again, missed that last shot, obviously the most important one, but it was a good look. Joe said, Joe Mazzulla said it was what they wanted. He said it'd take that shot 100 times out of 100 times. And I would agree. I mean, I think Brown got to his spot. It was a tough step back with a defender in his face, but he got it off and it just missed, and so he's the guy that should have gotten the ball in that situation. I'm glad it was him. Clearly, Derrick White wasn't going to be the guy tonight, and you're just not seeing it from enough other players on the court where it just – I remember these were reminds me of the Paul Pierce days. This is way back, but you just knew the ball was going to go to Pierce, and you just knew Pierce was going to take it. I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now with Jaylen Brown and this current makeup of this Celtics team, and it just didn't fall tonight. And by the way, that was a Paul Pierce type shot too. Drive to the lane, pull up, step back, and Pierce would have sunk it, but
good roll on it. Yeah, I mean,
I'm seeing a lot of similarities with those players. I'm seeing more and more similarities between Pierce and Brown than I have in the past.
Yeah, and we should praise Brown a little bit for the performance, particularly in the first half. I mean, there was a play underneath, nice post finish where he just, went up and under, from a tough angle underneath. He got to his spots, powered through defenders for a lot of this one, just looked in complete control in the opening minutes of this game. So I give him a lot of credit again for doing so much work, carrying this offense for stretches when they needed it. I mean, his first quarter there I thought was excellent. Whole overall first half I liked. Second half probably saw a little bit more attention. Couldn't get jumpers to fall for some of it. I mean, his first quarter ends up being 5 of 11. The second quarter ends up being 1 for 5. So, it started slipping right after that. 6 for 16 in the first half overall. Third one.
Do you think Brown should have drove to the rim on that one? He had time.
I like the shot he got.
Yeah,
I do.
okay.
And you're in single coverage there. You don't know if you're going to get doubled underneath. You don't have a lot of time. You want to get a shot off. I think it was a shot he's made throughout this year at a super high rate. It's a situation where you don't have a ton of time. So if help comes, do you have enough time to kick it, get a shot off, a good shot off? And you only needed 1 point, as you mentioned. I know you weren't aware of that at the time, but so I like it. I like it. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like from this game. I like the last shot. How about you?
I'm fine with the last shot. Yeah, I wanted it to go to Brown. He's a mid-range jumper guy, So I mean,
this team never seems to make that last shot ever.
I know. Yeah, no.
Every time we go down the last shot, whether it's the call or whether it's the shot, or they just miss it, we come away from it going, Celtics lose by 1.
We haven't mentioned Luka Garza yet, but I'm gonna put the lower third up, so I'll toss him on here. Like I said, a little bit of foul trouble in that first half, kind of took him out of things. But he's when he's in there, Bobby, he's giving you good burn out there, man. He really is, and I mean, this is one of the big surprises. Again, it's a roster full of surprises, but I got to say, Luka Garza to me has been one of the bigger pleasant surprises of this season. Just the way he's sort of stepped into this role here.
Yeah, for sure. This is a tough matchup for him, right? The speed, the athleticism of Detroit, and their centers, how good they are. You're going up against Beef Stew in your minutes. It's not easy. And he's been one of the best rim protectors in the league this year statistically, and you saw it on one of those blocks inside on Cater. Just ridiculous play. Went right up with him and blocked him, and Garza had to deal with that for a lot of this one. Get put in actions, gonna happen. Fouling, gonna happen in a physical matchup like this. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're taken off the court, because honestly, when you go off and Tillman comes in, you're not feeling great about that, given where Tillman's season is gone, again here. So that's a tough stretch there, a stretch Detroit probably steals, and you need to be able to stay in a game like this, even if you're not incredibly effective. At the same time, I do feel like in the minutes that he was out there, he did put up a fight. The 3 for 8 came from one of those plays where Jaylen got blocked and barely offloaded the ball, and he got caught underneath, blocked by Cade, put it up again right after. That was an important basket, so I don't kill him for the 3 for 8. The 2 threes, huge. Again, feels like he's hitting one every game at this point. Hitting his free throws.
What did I see? He's got the best. He's got the best field goal percentage from bench players from 3. Did I see that somewhere?
Probably. He's like 50% from 3.
Yeah, I think he's in first for like minimum, whatever the attempts are that you have to qualify. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which is unbelievable.
And, guys are going to start guarding that the more it falls, or at least keep them on.
It's like corner 3, huh?
And and you don't have that. It's a nice skill set to have. Minot was doing it at the start of the year, right? And I have no clue what's going on with him right now. He went on this road trip and just didn't play. even though he was out on the court a lot. So I don't know if he's ever going to get back in the mix. And as long as Garza's playing like this, he's probably not going to. And that is a backup center spot that he has taken and run with right now. I still feel better about Keita in this game overall. But it's nice to have both of them rolling. And as we talk about Jaren Jackson and Zubac and all these names we're going to talk about over the next 2.5 weeks here, leading up to the deadline, it's unreal still what you continue to get every single night from Keita and Garza, two guys who were in the G League a couple years ago and are making minimum salaries in this league. And they are just powering you at center on the second best team in the East.
Keita's a plus 15 on a night where the Celtics lose. I mean,
he was great.
That's hard to do.
Screening, free throws, rebounding,
got to the line 10 times. Yeah,
really
was
so
the majority of their interior presence in their paint presence tonight was Keita. I thought that was one aspect that lacked a little bit. And again, I think that goes back honestly to the guards, Pritchard and White, who just kind of lacked in that area. We do have some sound from Pritchard. You're going to toss up right now and see what he had to say after the game.
Jaylen's look on that final possession. Shot you want to take for a game winner, and we live with it.
What's the key to just dealing with their physicality? It seems like Joe said you guys kind of dealt with it by getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, they're a very physical team, probably the most physical in the NBA. So thought it was a hard-fought battle today, and we came ready to play, and it's just, didn't go our way in the end. But you just you learn from it and get ready, especially if we see them in playoffs.
Peyton, Joe said he was pretty happy with the process.
Nice.
Came down to like 50-50 balls. What goes into, coming up short on some of those, on the Robinson tree? Is there anything specific, or is it just like...
sometimes the ball don't bounce your way, so...
It's a 50-50 ball.
We got to try to have make as much effort plays as possible. Some of them, especially in the first half, we could have cleaned up, lost them through our hands and stuff like that, but... that's kind of stuff you can't really control.
Do you think there's anything about the way that they were playing physically that led to some of those balls slipping through your hands?
Not necessarily. Just can happen sometimes.
What did you see on the film at halftime that you wanted to correct and were able to in the third quarter?
We didn't really watch film. It was just we're going to have to get some of these 50-50 balls. We're going to have to rebound and can't let them get free throws all day. So it's just cleaning some of that up and then execution, which I thought we came out in the second half and did a good job.
You mentioned the playoffs. You guys are 1-3 against the Pistons. All very close games, though. Is that encouraging? You're encouraged.
Yep, for sure. It's regular season. We lost to the Knicks last year and we went 4-0. So it doesn't really matter. You just learn from it and prepare for it.
You said a couple times you want to learn from this game. What when you say that, what can you kind of take away from this game?
Just the physicality it's going to take to beat a team like that. Execution on each play, stuff like that.
Is there any kind of you're going from city to city to city, then
a lot of media in Detroit.
This is you said, the most physical team in the NBA. Is there
Big
any
game.
sort of shock of this is how physical it can be, coming off of you're playing the Hawks and they're not that physical? Is there an adjustment?
You kind of prepare for it. You know what to expect. I didn't play against the Hawks, so I don't know what that felt like out there, but I'm sure it was a bit different playing the Pistons and the Hawks.
You guys went from 14 first half turnovers to 5 in the second. Was it just about getting more comfortable against their physicality, or what made the difference there?
Just cleaning things up, making smart plays, but also I feel like some of those turnovers were just kind of just could have controlled them a little bit better, went through our hands, stuff like that. So stuff you we got to take care of it, but happens.
Basketball you got to find a flow.
Yep.
This was a slow game, lots of fouls, lots of reviews. How hard does that make getting into some sort of rhythm?
It can be very hard at times. So I was joking around during the game. I don't even have a sweat going at all. So it can be definitely hard. But they're going through it too. So it's no excuse. You got to just perform.
It felt like you guys generated some pretty good shots out of pick and roll, swing passes to three-point line, and then you only put up 103. Was there something they did to take you out of that rhythm? Was it just you can't do the same thing every play, so the other things were working?
We could have. We run different things. You never want to just run the same play over and over. You kind of mix it up, maybe go back to it at the end. But I thought we got good looks for most of the game.
A little off topic, but Jaylen was named an All-Star starter today as his teammate. What was that moment like? And
well deserved.
Did you kind of see it coming?
Yeah, for sure. He's had a heck of a year. unbelievable player, and he's leading us this year, and we're the number 2 team in the East, so definitely deserving.
All right.
Well, let's talk of the physicality. Joe felt like they matched it, Jimmy. Pritchard feels like they could do a better job with it. I don't know how you can fix that necessarily here. It's
physicality. Yeah, you can't just
ruling matchup. Yeah, in terms of the athletes on the other side, the speed. I mean, the way they beat you up with the floor in this one was staggering at times. And listen, it didn't lead to them blowing you out, but in a game built on small margins, you're not going to blow out Detroit necessarily here unless you go crazy from 3. You got to get all of them, right? And that's the difference in this game that I mentioned. Like, I think the areas you need to win, and you key in on those as the Celtics. They've done a good job of that all year long. But the Pistons are just so much naturally better at those things than you. So it's a tough matchup. And I'm encouraged by how close they've made it, because I feel like personnel-wise, you're at such a disadvantage against this team. Even at the point of attack, right? Jaylen, Cade, pretty even. And a lot of nights you're going to have the better player, given what Jaylen's done this year. Cade makes it a lot tougher with what he does on the other side.
Yeah, I think Cade's, we're gonna toss it up right now because Pritchard mentioned it. Jaylen Brown named to the starting lineup here of the East All-Stars. I don't hope you guys can see that. It's a lot of words and numbers on your screen here, but you can see. I can barely even see it, Bobby. Giannis, you got there at the top. Giannis, Cade, Maxey, Brunson, and Brown are going to be your Eastern Conference starters, and Jaylen Brown finished first in media votes. Is that accurate, Bobby?
Yes, with 98. So almost all the media members voted for him.
All you Celtics homer media members there. Got your guy in there. And then Cade, I think, finished first for the player vote, which is probably what everyone cares about the most if you're a player, with the respect of your peers. But goes to show you just how great of a season he's had, Bobby. And to your point, it is one of those situations where you might not have the best player on the court if you're the Boston Celtics and you're playing against this Detroit Pistons team. And, obviously, Cunningham over the last couple of seasons has vaulted to, superstar level. And I think they play behind him with a lot of passion, and that physicality was definitely on display. So, you hear Peyton Pritchard talking about it, referencing it a number of times in his press conference interview, basically saying that, that's one of the things that stood out. So they can take some things from this matchup, from this loss, and, understand, I think if these two teams are to meet again at some point, Bobby, there's not going to be much surprises, right? For either side. They know the strengths of each team. They know the physicality that's going to take to, compete. And they're talking about those 50-50 balls. So maybe that physicality does have some sort of I know people are trying to figure out, what's it take to win those 50-50 balls. Well, it's a 50-50 ball for a reason, but perhaps the physicality aspect of it can give Detroit an edge if they are the more physical team and getting to these loose balls and fighting for those rebounds or long rebounds and things like that. So see that down the road
too. Yeah, and I think the way they utilize their bench is smart, effective through a lot of these games they played against Boston. They can go deep. They can go to some guys who are hustle energy players just like yours. So a lot of the advantages you have against most teams are not going to be advantages against this Detroit group. We remember what Javonte Green did late in that last game that Detroit won in Boston, and Karis LeVert is prone to go off at any given point. His impact on this game massive. So they have a lot of guys that can mix and match with. Ivy is back in the mix now too after a bunch of injuries, so just another depth piece for that group. We mentioned what Robinson did here. Honestly, Cade had 16, 4-17 shooting. He was dishing it all around and finding the other guys, and that's what beat you in this one, was the way he manipulated the coverage you put on him. And that's why I go back to some of the defense you played in this game being just a little too aggressive. I know it's your identity. I know it's what you've done all year long, but he was able to get the ball out of some of those pressure situations fairly easily. And he's that kind of player. 14 assists, not unusual for Cade. Jaylen in this one, I think Detroit's approach was let's just switch him, play him one-on-one. We've talked about it, right? Let him get his. No one else.
Yeah.
A few other guys did their thing for Boston, but not many of them. And that was the difference in this.
Yeah. Anything on this, since we've got the voting results up on the screen still. Anything stand out to you on this list, Bobby? Or you got a player or two that you we just got rid of it. You got a player or two that you want to see in there? I want to put that back up if we can.
Yeah, I think Brunson's deserving, certainly. Giannis, I hope, he was beat up earlier in the season, but he's back now. You certainly want to see him out there leading the international team, right? It's going to be USA versus World in this thing. So 4 of these guys, USA players, one of them's going to lead the World team, and Giannis alongside in the West.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. Forgetting that they're doing this.
I have hope for that. I do hate that they're changing it every year. It's a little convoluted. There's 2 USA teams and 1 World team, and if there's not enough to fill one of the teams, they're going to add new guys to the team. So, like, does Derrick sneak into this thing as a replacement player? I don't know, but Jaylen's certainly going to be a starter.
No.
Yeah, Jaylen's certainly going to be a starter on the one of the USA teams, and he'll have a prominent role on whichever one that is. I feel like he'll be getting a lot of shots. He'll have a significant role on that. So, hopefully he's healthy enough to play in this thing when it comes around, and it could be a show, given the competitiveness of both of those sides. Like, I do think, Jimmy, that idea is a decent one, right? Because if you're either one of those sides, specifically the USA side, you don't want to lose to the World. You don't want to look like.
Do they care? I don't know if they care.
I don't know.
Really
I hope.
I don't think anyone's cared for a while. I mean, what do they have to lose, right? I mean, it is what it is. It's a show.
Yeah, I don't think Jaylen's. I don't think Jaylen's trying to win it for Team USA necessarily, especially given his role on the actual Team USA, right?
I think there's still a lot of cachet involved in being named to the team, and certainly being named a starter. Like, players certainly want that, but when it comes to actually competing in the game, it doesn't feel like that's kind of where they draw the line. Like, oh no, I want to make the team, I want to go, I want to be honored, and I want people to respect me, but
hang out.
Maybe I'll just watch from the sidelines once the game actually starts. But
that was horrendous last year, I'll tell you, man. Like, one of the worst NBA events, maybe the worst I've ever seen. The stupid intermissions and the teams that made no sense, the tournament they did, like, it was just a disaster. And no one was playing hard. There wasn't great flow to it, and nothing about it was memorable except how awful those intermissions were with inside the NBA stuff. So I hope that this can fix it. But honestly, Jimmy, I feel like the best bet is just to keep it at what it was, East-West. Whoever wants to play hard can.
I like the
Maybe
East-West
get the Elam ending thing. Yeah. I mean, this is confusing, right? You're naming the East and West teams, and that's not even what you're doing. I don't know how many people. You forgot that they were doing U.S. World,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, unless you're really locked into the all-star game formatting, it's just not something you're going to be thinking about regularly, is how they switch it up like that. But whatever, it is what it is. I think, congrats to Jaylen for getting named to this starter. Well deserved.
Number 1 is media. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I guess if you're a media dork and you think that people care about your opinion, it's a pretty big deal. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you got the most votes of any guy in the East, more than Giannis, more than Brunson.
Yeah, no, listen, I think anyone and media fans, if you're paying attention to this Celtics team and you're watching how it's gone down, it's hard to ignore what Jaylen Brown's been able to do this year and how he's sort of elevated his game. And we actually do have Jaylen Brown right now that we'll go to. And then hopefully we'll get Noa on here. I know she's working hard over there in Detroit, but maybe she will be able to bless us with her presence. And we'll talk a little bit about this game, and then we'll talk about Jayson Tatum. Let's hear from Brown right now.
It felt good. I mean, my legs are a little heavy, but got to make a play.
Take us.
What happened?
Through it. Take us through the last play.
Last play, catch, get to a spot, go up. Got to make a play for your team at the end. Had some opportunities. didn't convert. But still got some room to grow. That's what the regular season is for, so we get better.
Jaylen, Joe said he was pretty happy with like the shots you got, but the game came down to some 50-50 balls. What goes into improving plays like that? I mean, they're inherently like 50-50, but like how do you get better in those little moments?
50-50
Yeah, I give credit
ball
to them.
question.
They're extremely physical, and you feel it on every possession during the whole game. So I felt like we matched the level of intensity. We matched the level of physicality, but we just came up short.
How much of a challenge is it to find your rhythm while fighting through that physicality?
It's a challenge. It's a challenge on defense and offense. Like tonight on Garden Cage, chasing them through screens and picking them up full court, and then having to find legs to make plays on offense, and then down the line hit big shots. So it's a challenge, but I take those challenges on. I gotta, it improves your shape, tests your mental shape as well, and that's what the regular season is for. So you keep getting better, and you look to make those plays when they matter the most in the playoffs.
Jaylen, you guys were getting good looks out of the pick and roll. It felt like a lot of the game. Was there something they changed defensively to sort of get you guys out of a rhythm there?
No, I thought we got pretty good looks for the most part of the night. I think that our offense was pretty good. We just got to convert. I thought we got some good shots. Credit to them. They're a good defensive team. They're one of the better defensive teams, I feel like, and they are allowed to be physical. We just, didn't convert some shots that we had, some good looks, but, I thought offensively we did a pretty good job, but we could do even better.
Were there specific moments where you think you guys could have done better? Like, obviously you have to watch tape, but, like, immediately react.
Yeah, just got to be even stronger. Like, you know what I mean? They're not, depending on what night it is, they may call those bumps, and things like that. We just can't, rely on the refs. But the consistency is so up and down. It's hard to know what you're going to get going into each game. It's like a completely different game. So you just got to adjust. You got to adjust on the fly better, be more strong. And then we just had to convert. I think we had some good looks, but they didn't go in.
All 4 of these matchups have been really close and come down to the wire. How much confidence does that give you knowing they are the number 1 team in the East?
Great. A lot of stuff that I can learn from in these matchups. It's a test of will, a test of physicality. And tonight we came up short by a couple of possessions. I think that is showing the growth of our team, how we fight. And then when it comes down to it, I got to make a play for our team. So.
Jaylen, I know this is probably not the most fresh thing on your mind, but you were named an All-Star starter earlier today. How meaningful was that moment? Were you watching it live, or how did you find that out?
I woke up from a nap, and then I had some text messages from loved ones and family. But I think that's what it matters most for, like my support group. I think it means a lot to them to see me celebrated in that light. But I've always felt like, regardless of what people may think or whatever, that I've been one of the better players in this game. Just now I've got an opportunity to show it a little more.
Is there some validation in that?
In what?
In being named a starter and being recognized by your peers and everyone else?
I mean, I guess. I mean, not for me. I feel like I should have been, I'm a very confident guy. So I don't allow other people to tell me what my validation is. I've always felt like I was better than a lot of these guys, but it doesn't come down to what I think and feel. It comes down to media, fan vote, all that type of stuff. So it can go any direction. I'm just grateful because I know my support group. I know it means a lot from them. They've been supporting me. They knew what type of talent I was from day one. And it means a lot for them to see me in these spaces. So shout out to them.
Does the player vote? Oh, sorry. Does the player vote matter? Like you were third in that. Does that matter more than the other ones, or?
I'm the wrong guy to ask on any type of voting stuff. But
sure. Come on, you're checking the votes, Jaylen. Let's be real. You're seeing who's voting for who.
Yeah, ref talk. I'm being allowed to do it now, and I'm better than a lot of these guys. A lot of Jaylen check boxes in that one, but listen, they all feel coming out of this one like they got to be more physical. They got to be quicker to the loose balls. They got to win that possession battle. Like they know what they need to do in this matchup, and they don't look completely overmatched in that sense. But it is a hard thing to do to actually go out there and do it against a team that's that good at it, like Detroit is there. Like they are so that's their game, Jimmy, right?
Is it something they can fix from within?
Physical.
Can they fix it from within?
Some of
Bobby?
it comes down to personnel. Like are Hauser and Garza and Pritchard, like are those guys going to be the first on the floor to a ball, or is it going to be Ron Holland and Oscar Thompson and Beef Stew? Like you're overmatched in some sense. So that's why, like, I don't sit here freaking out saying, "Oh, they did this or that wrong," or that. Like so much of it is you're just overmatched personnel wise, and that's why it's the story of this year, Jimmy. Right? We came into the year saying, "Do they have the talent? Are they one of the best teams in the league? Probably not." But the way that they've through coaching and guys stepping up and just doing all the little things and being aware of those little things that you need to win games, they've kept it close with what definitively, and I've said it throughout all these matchups, looks like the best team in the East. It's the most impressive team I've seen in the East by far. And you're right there with them. And depending on what you thought this team would be coming into this year, that's either fine or you feel like you need to get a little bit better and you can be there. And maybe Tatum is the difference in that sense if these teams do meet in May. But coming out of 4 games against this team, obviously crossing off the first one that was not super competitive at the end. I've liked the way they've played this team. They've matched up with this team and they've masked some of their deficiencies against this team. And this is a tough matchup personnel wise. Like they are just so much bigger, so much stronger, so much faster than you. And Cade is a force to be reckoned with himself at the head of the snake. So I don't come out of this one devastated. I come out of this one hopeful about this matchup if it does happen down the line.
All right. And we have Noah joining us from Detroit. Welcome to the show, Noah. Thanks for jumping on with us. First impressions from this game, this loss came up just short in the end. Jaylen Brown's little step back there, mid-range jumper, missed the mark. But some things to still like about this game, some things to maybe bank for, panicking later on. Where are you at with this one? Oh, can't hear you.
Muted.
I don't know if she's...
How about now?
Now we can hear you.
It's almost worse when it can be fixed with just unmuting yourself, Yeah. Because then it's like there's no excuse.
It wouldn't be the Garden Report if nobody was muted ever.
Yeah, here's my thing. I think if you look at everybody's post-game reactions, Joe Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, like you can tell everybody was okay with this one. Like it's frustrating to lose close games. It's frustrating, especially for Jaylen. He had a shot to close out, a great day for him after being named all-star starter to hit a game winner on national television. I know you wanted it, but I think in totality, like this was a great game. Like this just felt like one of those playoff games. There was a playoff intensity, physicality, atmosphere. And a lot of times Joe says, it was 5 or 6 loose balls or it was 5 or 6 possessions and it feels like coach speak. But in this game, it really did feel that way. Like earlier in this game, there were just a couple of times where like Mimi stole the ball, but then immediately turned it over, or like Baylor didn't get to a loose ball that Cade Cunningham got. Like it felt like it was really just came down to a couple of plays. And so in that sense, you do like the fact that these two teams have competed like all the way down to the wire all 4 times. And, you want to see them come out with these wins, but I thought it was not a discouraging loss by any means. Like this, if there's a loss you'll live with, like this is the one.
Right. It felt like, they did a lot of things right out there. I mean, I think, and me and Bobby has mentioned it already, but the concern I have with a loss like this is similar to a lot of the other losses with this team is that who's helping Jaylen Brown out? He gets them to this point into the game. He brings them to the brink, but he's kind of putting the team on his back. And you had a good start from Peyton Pritchard a little bit in this one. He kind of tailed off. Hauser wasn't even in the game in the majority of that third quarter, and Derrick White couldn't hit a shot tonight. So I think when I talk about a concern, it's more so the consistency or the reliability of everybody after Jaylen Brown. And I think as we're getting into the season here, I'm starting to only really rely on Jaylen Brown. I'm losing faith a little bit in some of these secondary, second, third options that are supposed to be kind of, right there next to him, and that isn't to say that Cade is not doing anything or Garza isn't doing anything. Those guys are still contributing, but offensively, I'm kind of looking for more from some of the, the Robins out there.
I see what you're saying. Like if you're looking at, okay, who's good for 18 tonight? You don't know if Peyton's going to hit that. You don't know if Derrick's necessarily going to hit that. You don't know if Anthony's going to hit that. one of those guys will, but it feels like it's just been a little bit up and down for everybody outside of Jaylen offensively. He has been pretty remarkable. I mean, it hasn't always been. Tonight he wasn't super efficient, but he's remarkably been able to get 30 points pretty much always. He's good for that. And he had some big shots down the stretch. Obviously missed the game winner and a couple of free throws, but I thought that he did kind of do enough for them in this one. So I get what you're saying. Like, it would be nice to have
you're probably not getting any other All-Stars, right? I mean, White's probably not going to crack it. Obviously that was your only chance really. And it just kind of goes to show that the Celtics are the number 2 team in the East. And it's very much because of Jaylen Brown and coaching, obviously. But, I think that, I guess the Celtics are more of the sum of their parts than of one player. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, night to night, there's one guy showing up.
That's the thing, is like there are stretches where like Payton was huge in that third quarter. Obviously, Anthony has been great for the past 5 weeks, right? And he had a couple of big shots in this one, but he didn't get going enough. Derrick just had a tough night from the field, and he's had a bunch of those, and that's probably been we were talking about disappointments yesterday, and I think that maybe one of the only disappointing things has been his efficiency, just because he has been such an efficient player. And I do still think it's going to turn around, but obviously we're getting past the midway point of the season, that it's a little bit harder to say that with full certainty. But Sam's totally turned it around. Some of the guys that were in slumps, Sam's shooting 46% from 3 in January. He has found a complete groove offensively, even went off the dribble a little bit today. But yeah, if you're looking for a reliable every night you have this guy, you don't really have it on this team. And we kind of knew that going into the season. I mean, I think maybe there were some aspirations that Payton or Derrick would become that player. You might have one of those players on the way. You might, that could obviously solve some of your issues, but they've managed to survive quite well without that. I think that's kind of a credit to them that they're still in the position they're in. I mean, they've had the best record since December 1st, without that consistent second option. But you're right. You saw at moments tonight where, and also the Pistons defense has been way better than any other defense they faced this season. I think they're the second ranked. Thunder are the best, and they haven't seen the Thunder yet. So
they're fun to watch. They're competitive.
They're fun.
Cade's great. I mean, all 4 of these games have been something. The first one, again, you're up 20 and it goes down the wire. And second one with the Cade finish. Third one with another great finish. And this one certainly goes down the last shot as well. 3 of them decided by free throws, Noah, we mentioned, in large part. It's pretty amazing how tightly contested this series has been. It will be devastating if we don't see these 2 teams face off in the playoffs here. But it's interesting. What's your biggest second guess out of this one, if you have one? I mentioned Hauser. I thought Adam was good to point that one out, that he sat for most of the second half with the foul trouble. Probably too long. Derrick, Simon's trade-off maybe a little bit. Sharman.
Second guess, substitution?
Anything from this one.
Yeah, if they could go back and fix something, what would you go back and fix?
I mean,
Sharman
as a team, I think there. Relax.
we went in on Sharman, unfortunately.
Just pointing out the numbers, or lack thereof.
This is a nice developing segment.
Okay.
Was there anything else for you? No, I mean, you were at the game. I mean, was there something that you felt like the team lacked a little bit, or needed somebody to do something different out there?
It just felt to me like they had opportunities where they almost made a play and they didn't. Not to pick on Nimi, because I thought that he was strong in this one, but this play kind of perfectly captured the things that went wrong for them, which early in that first quarter, he steals the ball, which was a great play, and then had 2 wide open players on his side. And I think he tried to swing it to Payton, and it was just completely picked off by a Detroit player. And it was a loose ball, a live ball turnover. I think it turned into a transition basket. And again, the intent was there. It all started because Nimi got a steal. There was a couple of moments like that tonight where I was the Pistons are maybe being a little loose with it, but the Celtics just were not able to capitalize in those stretches. And then they find themselves down 10. I liked how they started the second half, but they probably never should have even been in that position. And then obviously you look at the last few possessions. I mean, I don't think he came up once post game in any of our questions or any of the discussions, but Tobias Harris was the X factor in this one. He hits big shot after big shot. He's been an elite post-up player so far this season. Obviously hit some big threes in those final few minutes that were the difference. I think you'll live with that in this game. You'll live with Tobias Harris burning you. They mostly did a good job on everybody else. But if it was a 7-game series, I would keep my eye on Tobias Harris and you maybe you don't want to let him stay comfortable because he's having a good year. I mean, he's a good player, right?
I can't believe he's still doing it. Yeah.
I know.
Feel like he's been in the league forever.
And he looked like he was on his way out. I mean, everybody remembers he was hated by Philadelphia fans.
Oh, yeah.
When he left, and now here he is, just beloved in Detroit, and he's been a huge part of their success. So I'm not saying like I'd go back and necessarily change the defensive game plan. I mean, you helped this team to 104 points. But he was the one that was able to kind of get them going for stretches of that game. I think he had an advantage over Derrick. Derrick struggled a little bit defensively on him. I think maybe his size and kind of physicality there, but nothing from a coaching standpoint like stood out to me. It's just like, again, Jaylen's shot goes in, and this is an awesome win, and like we have a great post game talking about that. So it's like good to acknowledge just like how close they were literally right there with this one.
Can you, if you're the Celtics, can you just be more physical? I mean, you are who you are. The players are who they are. Their size is their size, and Detroit just poses tough matchups for them physically. Is that something where they can find it from within, or is it something where maybe Brad says, hey, you know what? We've lost 3 games to Detroit this year. We feel like we can compete with any team in the East. And if we end up in a series with Detroit, we want to make sure that we have guys that can match the physicality. Is that give them a little bit of a impetus to maybe look for something before the deadline to take on a team like this physically like Detroit is? Or is that something that they'll just say, you know what, we just got to play harder, play tougher?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they were like that out physicaled in this game. In theory, looking at this Detroit team, I would be concerned about the glass, and I'd be concerned about, whether they could be up for the challenge. But I felt like they were in this one, and obviously it didn't help that both Nimi and Luka were dealing with foul trouble. Like they had to turn to X, which they haven't done in months, I think.
That was something else, huh?
Yeah, and so that didn't help. A lot of guys were dealing with foul trouble. I can't remember the last game with the 3 or 4 players were dealing with foul trouble, and I don't even know that they were bad calls. I mean, I think the officials didn't really know what to do with this one because felt like there was contact on every play in this game.
Right.
So I don't look at this like there's a glaring roster need on that end. Obviously, this is an advantage that Detroit's going to have over maybe every player on the NBA, like every team in the NBA. Like I don't know, they might be the most physical team out there.
They got the best centers in the league.
You think?
Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3. Not that Reed plays, but they got a great complement of centers, and you'd be good with either of those guys starting, Darren or Stewart, and you win stretches with both those guys on the floor. It's physical. There's 3-point shooting there. There's rolling, screening, defense, all that. It's overwhelming, and you just know you're going to probably lose the rebounding battle against them on most nights, which is tough in a playoff series environment. And that's the Celtics' weakness, right? I don't know if they can solve it necessarily outside Tatum coming back. It wasn't the reason they lost this game. In fact, I think they won on the offensive glass overall, but they're just overwhelming there at times. And you don't quite have an answer for their ability to get to those loose balls, especially late in games. It's so devastating when you get a stop late in a game and you give up an offensive rebound, which is obviously what happened on the last possession there. Not that it, led to anything, but still more time off the clock, still more guarding energy you have to expend in that spot. And that happens a lot in this matchup. I think it's by and large a big reason that the Pistons got a slight edge in this matchup here. And tonight it was the turnovers, right? But we've said it all year, Noah, you need to have more possessions if you're the Celtics to win these games. And the Pistons are just so good at the possession game, whether it's their on-ball defense, their rebounding, or their just ability to get loose balls. I don't know, outside of a Tatum return and him having that big impact in that area, that you can solve that lineup-wise, trade-wise, any of it. So it's a tough matchup, but it's one you're up for. And that's why I do leave this game being a little optimistic. If they were going to play a playoff series today, Noah, without Tatum, you're probably picking Detroit in like 6 or 7, right?
Which means it's anybody's series, right? In that case.
Yeah.
I mean, Payton pointed it out post-game. He was like, we were 4-0 against the Knicks last year, and they beat us in the playoffs.
Things can change. So
you don't want, you don't want to look too much at the outcome of these games as like an indicator of like what would happen in a playoff series. I mean, I remember Derek telling us this when the Celtics won the 4th game against the Knicks, means like it literally means nothing. And then obviously a month later, we saw that with our own eyes. But yeah, you keep your eye on this. And again, like I thought that Nimi and Luka handled the physicality pretty well for the most part. Like and not just them, everybody. I mean, Jaylen what he finished with 11 rebounds. Like you could tell there was a concerted effort across the board. Derrick was big on the glass, had some big offensive ones. But looking at the shooting splits down the roster, like you're just not going to win a ton of games like that. They reminded me of playoff shooting splits. Everybody's efficiency goes down in the postseason. Like that's kind of what you saw in this one, where it felt like every basket was just a grind. But they left some points on the board. Clutch free throws. Derrick missed his tech. Jaylen missed both of his. The last one, like that's what the game comes down to. You make 2 of those, you have a W. And I thought that, and Tobias Harris is probably not going to always shoot. He's not going to shoot like that on like an average game, but Cade wasn't great, so like that's good. I know.
Yeah, I made up for Cade. Cade was not superhuman tonight. He missed a lot of shots out there, but again.
Yeah. But he made big plays down the stretch. I mean, ball in his hand, he made the right read, made the right pass.
And ultimately, Detroit had what Boston didn't, which was, a guy to kind of fill in for Cade, and it was Harris tonight. And that dude Duran's pretty good too. I like him a lot.
Jaylen Duran, he'll be an all-star.
Yeah,
Jaylen Duran.
Probably.
He
ranked pretty low though in the returns today.
He what?
He ranked pretty low in the All-Star returns today.
I don't think he's not a house. He's nowhere near a household name. He's just not there yet. So
the way you just said his name was very like he was like an up and coming G League player.
I know. Well, he's just not.
I'll take this Duran guy. Anybody?
No, I mean you really don't hear a lot about him. Who do you hear about? You hear about Cade,
you're right?
Right.
You're right.
But of course, he's a huge reason that Detroit's
I like this hung out on the dunk early. Yeah. Then there's some tension. There's some flair between these two teams. This is the 3rd round of Jaylen and Stort beefing. Shireman shoving a guy and JB getting teed up after that. And there was a lot of little moments from this game where there was some tension. It could certainly blow up in a playoff series. So I have a pretty good sense that we'll see a series between these two teams. But I think what it comes down to is
I hope so.
How good you do you feel good about the Celtics winning a playoff series in general? Because they're not going to face each other in the first round, certainly.
Right.
So, can Boston get through Philly or, any of those teams on the bottom half of that bracket there, given what they have right now? Health in a good place. They've won most games over 5, 6, 7 game stretches. We haven't seen this iteration of the team in the playoffs, but I feel pretty good about it. And I think, again, I said it earlier, Noah, how you feel about games like these, and we said it after the last Detroit game, I think, too. Depends on how you feel about this team in general. Like, if you think the Celtics can make the finals, you don't love this result. But if you just want the Celtics team to battle and give you a good effort and come out of this year super competitive, 2 rounds in the playoffs, whatever you think, you feel good about what you showed in this game in terms of being able to match up and battle and fight with some of the best teams in the league.
And you mentioned it, Bobby, but there was another player who didn't play in the game today, but did make some basketball moves on a basketball court, and Noah was there to witness Jayson Tatum's little workout that happened before the game today. And so we're going to talk about that. But before we do, we want to remind everybody that this show is brought to you by our good friends at Prize Picks. And even though this is a basketball show, we're not ignoring the fact that, the big game is almost here, right? And actually the Patriots are in line. Everything's shaping up for the Pats right now to be in that game. Well, there's no better way to cash in during the biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with the Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's easy. Toss $5 in there. Go more on the Patriots next weekend against the Broncos without their starting quarterback, thinking the Pats are going to pick them apart and just do their thing and head to the Super Bowl, which is just crazy to say. But there's some really cool things that you can do on Prize Picks. You can find your community. With the new social feed features, you can share your picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us, Bobby. Bobby's the fantasy football guru here. You might want to follow his lead. And tail, or you can fade. You can fade him if you think he's going to be wrong. Just one click, you can tail or fade. And another new feature, early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So download Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And if you did play Prize Picks over the weekend, you would have got Stroud. He just needed one passing yard. He almost didn't get it. That's how bad he was in that game, but he did. He did get there, and everybody was able to hit on that one, which
that was tough to watch.
The first leg of your play there. Yeah, that was tough to watch if you're a Texans fan, but it was great to watch if you're a Patriots fan, or if you were like me at the game, tarps off in the second 2 minutes left in the game. Bobby, we took the tarps off. We went shirtless in the snow for that one. It just felt right to do that.
I saw you. You were on TV.
Got a few texts. Yeah, some people saw us out there, so no big deal. My friend Jeremy actually he was like front and center. I don't think people noticed me the same way, but that's okay. Oh, jeez. Oh,
how'd it feel?
Where are you? Is Jimmy?
That's me. You can't. I'm on the right, so you can't really tell it's my face because my arm's in the way. But
oh my god,
my buddy Jeremy. Right? Yeah, they just really quickly they shot to it like in between plays.
Are you sick?
No, I'm not actually. Well, I'm sick in the head for sure.
I didn't even have to ask about that.
We were going on adrenaline at that point, so there were some other people. Some other people joined in on the action, so we weren't the only ones out there.
I don't see too many of them.
I was watching this game in an indoor bar, and I was frigid. And seeing even the Patriots players with like their skin exposed was mind-boggling for me. So I know they're working out. I know they're like they can handle the cold better, but I don't know how you did it.
How about the post game guys? John was alive in the snow.
I would be having to leave. I wouldn't be.
Taylor Cadlick, Amit was out
Can
there
you imagine
in the
sitting
snow.
out there? No way.
No, we call it a career. I've thought about that. Yeah,
I would call it a career. Yeah, I'll find something else.
But no, you were inside. You were watching Jayson Tatum get a little work on. I want to toss this up here just so that we could see what you could see on the show here. If we can get some. Here we go. What are we looking at, Noah? Take us through what went down today, and what the vibes.
The radio play-by-play.
Yeah.
So we walked into shoot around. It was at a high school about 40 minutes north of the arena. And normally we talk to a player. Maybe we catch a little bit of Derrick White doing his trick shots. It's unusual that we see Tatum really at all. At times we'll see it maybe for the first minute and then our media availability ends. So again, I don't know if this was intentional or if this was just how the scheduling worked. I think he might have I don't know that Payton worked out this morning. Like I think things might have gotten shuffled around. So I don't know if it was intentional for him to do it right in front of us, but he did an entire like almost hour-long workout, literally 2 inches away from like the NBC Sports Boston camera, my camera, like everybody. So we saw him
close up of the Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing like a lot of stuff that was not super exciting, like form shooting, the usual dribbling drills, that sort of thing. But then he also had some more explosive moments and times where, Tony Dobbins was guarding him with a decent amount of physicality. This was not like game speed by any means, but it's the most that we've seen him do by far with our own eyes. Like he's shared some clips on social media, but this was an unfiltered look for almost an hour of him working out. And I think he's been doing a lot of these that we just haven't been privy to. Like this was, again, we have limited access. I don't know how much fans like understand, but we get to see just the very end of practices and shoot-arounds, and sometimes we don't. There's some certain players like we don't even really ever see work out. Like I don't think we ever saw Al Horford working out. He always did it beforehand. So Tatum, I think, has just been doing stuff more not in front of the cameras. And today it was just very interesting that we got to see so much. And he looked good. His shot looked good. He looked maybe a little rusty. But the thing that's weird is that he never really does full speed workouts. Like when we were covering him last year. When he goes through his shooting drills, it's like 50% speed, a lot of form shooting, a lot of that stuff, where some players just do stuff with more mobility. So I wasn't watching it being like, oh, this is rehab Tatum. Like it kind of just looked like Tatum doing his usual stuff. And obviously he's there. That's, Nick Sang with the ball in his hand, Emil Jefferson, 2 of his close friends, also important members of the Celtics, coaching staff, and Nick's his trainer. Craig Lushannon, who is the head of player development, he's out there too. So they had, and Emil is guarding Tatum for pretty much this entire workout. So they had a full staff working with him, obviously. And I walked away feeling better about his potential recovery, but not like I was blown away, like, oh, this guy looks like he's 2 seconds away from coming back. Like, he didn't do anything that was like mind blowing. So just to kind of be fair there.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement over it. Yeah, and it looked.
We were thrilled. We thought we were just gonna get a couple of minutes of like one interview, and we got to hear, we got to hear a lot more. So.
And he didn't speak to anybody, right? He just kind of did his thing and locked off.
Yeah, no. We talked to Derrick after. Derrick said it's just like, as a friend, it's been fun to watch Tatum continue to recover. But I mean, listen, this guy's been at everything since the beginning of the year at preseason. I was shocked that he was traveling with the team in preseason, and like he's missed like one road game since. He's been at almost everything, and not just that, but like super engaged on the bench, super animated, and like this is all speculation, but I get the feeling that he is getting closer, and that like I do sense a little bit of a shift. And
Whoa.
I would never. Oh, you missed it, Jimmy. The other night, I was saying that I feel like his energy on the bench has just been a lot more engaged, a lot more active, celebratory. He did this. He's doing like fake shooting. He did it a couple of times at the basket during timeout breaks, which was what KP used to do when he was getting close to returning. So I'm not saying it's like totally around the corner, but based off of just like little things that I'm picking up on, it feels more likely to be happening in the next couple months.
He hasn't missed an imaginary shot yet.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
So
Noah,
speculation. It's not reported.
Yeah. Okay. Speculation alert. We got that. Where were you? Okay. Where were you on his potential return before you saw this workout today? Did you think he was coming back this year? And
I've always
how has
thought
that changed?
so.
Okay.
I've always thought so because he made that his goal. And so if he is working tirelessly to come back this season, and we know that there's a lot of conditions that were positive for him, the fact that he had the surgery within 12 hours of rupturing his Achilles, the fact that he's young and athletic and has always been very durable and like recovered well from things and recovered fast. Like, I think there's a lot of variables that already made him a good candidate to come back this year. And if we keep hearing good things, right, about his recovery and about how things are going, but you wanted to see at some point like a little bit of a vibe shift, and I wish I could say that in a more intelligent way, but that's kind of the only way to put it. And so I do feel like this road trip feels like it could be that inflection point. I wouldn't be like stunned if he ends up not coming back this year. Like, this is not me guaranteeing anything, but the feeling I get is that something is shifting a little bit. And then again,
it's exciting.
I have to guess right now, like if I was just spitballing, like I think beginning of March is where I would guess, but
okay.
I wouldn't even like tweet that because people would read too much into that. So I'm only saying it here. Between us,
make it a lower third, Ramit.
Yeah, Noah, right.
Colin.
That's my key to not clip.
Noah, Colin, Tatum to return beginning of March. Bobby, where are you at with things now? I mean, you watched the video. I know that we were chatting about it earlier. You seem to be pretty fired up about this.
I mean, I saw other people fired up about it, so it made me fired up. I didn't see anything myself here that made me think things are turning a corner or that something's imminent. But I'll buy into Noah's vibe check there and sense of how he's looking on the bench and all that. And like I've said along the way too, I want to see him this year. I want to think that he's going to be in the lineup right now. But we heard from Brad a month or two ago that it is going to be a matter of like the 5-on-5 stuff and the scrimmaging and the practice time and all the physical check marks. And so far, at least from what we see, it's a lot of the same, just in terms of one-on-one work with the coach and light shooting and all that. So, if we saw him 3-on-3 here and contact and screening and all of that, I think we'd be getting excited and feeling like it's imminent. But I think right now you're just looking at where we've been, which is other guys' timelines make you think it could be in play. His intention on doing it makes you think it's his, goal this year to do it. So that makes me think he's going to do it as well. And the amount of time left in the season, I mean, we're just halfway through here, and he's continued to work and continued to progress. No sign that there's been any setbacks. So I'm right there with Noah. I think these next couple of weeks are going to be important because you do have the All-Star break in about 3 weeks where there'll be some extra practice time, where I think it would be a prime opportunity to actually start inserting them into some team stuff while they're all back at our back and able to go through some full sessions. And then can you put him into a game right after that, have him play some limited minutes to get into game speed, and then into March have him be going closer to full speed? I think we've all heard that it's going to take about a month for him to get back to full speed. So if he can be back in practice, February is going to be what? 9 months, which is where most guys have come back that we've heard about recently. And then March, playing it a little safe, slow playing it. 10 months. Is he 100% by then? I think that's where I'm at too. Like, you have a month to ramp up until the playoffs at that point. April's 11 months. May's 12 months. If you're around that timeline, I don't want to see it this year because I just think it's too close to the playoffs and there's just too much intensity and speed and all that stuff. But if he can have a nice runway to the playoffs, I do want to see him this year.
Amit has his prediction, since Noah mentioned early March. March 3rd happens to be Tatum's birthday. It's a home game. And that's the game, or in between, I guess. Bucks or Hornets. Not on March 3rd exactly, but one of those games. Bucks or Hornets in early March, right around his birthday. That's Amit's prediction. So Amit's got eyes and ears and things, right? He's producer. He's on the scene. Him and Richie. Don't put anything past those two. They know what's going on. They know.
Here's what I will say. I don't think we're gonna get a ton more updates. I think we're not gonna see a lot more of these.
Joe
workouts.
wasn't interested in updating, that's for sure, today.
I don't think we're gonna see a lot more of these. I think this was a once in a season kind of thing that we're gonna be privy to a full length workout from Tatum. I don't think this is gonna become like a habit of his. And I don't think they're gonna keep us posted when he starts playing 5-on-5. Like, they don't need to tell us that. So don't be surprised if this is the last big update we have on Tatum. And then next thing you know, we get that injury report, or Shams beats the injury report by 90 seconds, and then we get the injury report. I think that's how it's going to go.
I think you'll hear
advantage from it.
I mean, I think you're going to hear when he's practicing with the team, right? I mean, actually practicing. So. You don't think that I mean, you guys go to practices, don't you ever catch any of it?
Tatum has wanted the hype train.
Let me be. And he got it. He's got in the hype train, but there's no advantage to having people know it's around the corner. When we go to practices, we see the last few minutes of practice, and then we see it's just guys doing individual skills work. We don't see like the actual practice. I would love it if we could watch full practices of the team working together. We see the guys that are shooting after practice, which sometimes it's the same 3 or 4 players that we see every single practice because those are the ones that are shooting then. So Tatum could have done a full length workout and we would not know about it. And this team has a gift for keeping things tight-lipped. It's great if you're a Celtics fan because it's an advantage of how professional this organization is. As a media member, it can be tough because we are kind of on the outside on a lot of things, which is why you start to scrutinize every little crumb that you do get because there's not a lot. But yeah, I think this is the last big update that we're going to get. Maybe we'll get like I think if he works with Maine, they have to update us about that. I think that's the rule, right? If
send him to Maine.
No, because you remember Porzingis did that and we got an email about it.
Yeah.
I don't know the rules.
He and Tillman went up.
Can you imagine Tatum going up to Maine? Imagine Tatum going up to Maine. That would be
come
amazing.
Down to them. Maine would come down to them. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Nobody's going up to the Portland Expo except for me.
No one's taking the train up.
The bus.
He'll go to Maine if Tatum goes.
Yeah, we can go. Imagine open practice, Tatum, Portland Expo. That place would go crazy. Yeah.
That's the one main update that me and John will allow on the show.
Listen, Kata, Jordan Walsh, these are main Celtics legends, okay?
My hiccups have returned. I've been battling hiccups all day today, and I told Bobby, I was like, dude, I'm battling right now, but I got through an hour and a half without hiccups, but
who's
they
next?
have
Pacers
returned.
revenge game.
Pacers Wednesday.
So we got Pacers Wednesday.
Just a week and a half after illegal screen gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They're back just like
back
that.
on the road.
I wonder if they'll call a lot
Friday,
of them.
Saturday.
Who's Friday and Saturday?
Brooklyn and then Chicago. So
Brooklyn,
should be a very
Chicago.
winnable back-to-back, both road games. Kind of tough for me personally, but
And then we're less than a week from Drew's return. That'll be fun.
Is he gonna play?
yeah.
Yeah, he's back.
Hey, we need one of these guys to lace up. I feel like there's a curse on these former Celtics players. Luke was the only one. So hopefully
know.
Drew's still good to go by then.
It's sad, but it is what it is. So that's it for us, I think, guys. Unless you have anything else you want to add, Noah, since you are there. Did it feel like a playoff game? I mean, you were in the building. Felt like that vibe.
It did.
Yeah.
I had like adrenaline being in there, and I think just how difficult everything was. Every basket felt like it was worth 5 points, and that's how a playoff game feels, you know.
Yep.
So I heard the crowd didn't sound great on television. It was honestly.
No, I
pretty good
heard
crowd.
it.
You heard it? Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby will
They,
not allow Detroit Pistons slander.
No, but they've had a tough crowd there for a while, even like over the last year and change here where they've been good. So it was awesome to see it actually filled up and it going crazy there because that's a great fan base historically, a great team historically. It's awesome.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
see
listen,
them
they were
back.
showing up when this team was historically bad, so credit to them. I was just thinking, like, a year
It's a
and a
great
half ago, there
basketball
was still
city.
the team chance, and now this team is like the team to beat. It's a pretty cool turnaround. So,
I
yeah,
love
nothing
it.
special. I will say, after the game in the locker room, it was unusually good vibes for a loss because everybody was watching the college football national championship, and there was a lot of kind of joking around and trash talking and enjoying all that. And so I didn't know anything about the game.
And Derek's going Broncos for Pats.
And by the way,
saw
can I
that.
just say this? Can I just be annoying? Derek, I posted that clip. Derek was answering that question. Derek's from Colorado. Obviously, he's going to support the team of the city that he's from. He was getting destroyed on Twitter. People are like, he's inefficient. Like, I'm over this guy. Da da da. Players
Maybe
will
they
never
got
show
to
you
him.
their personality ever again if everybody destroys them every time they do. Which this is my biggest frustration. Every time these guys like let their guards down a little bit, they get killed. So if you want them to be people and be comfortable talking to us, don't destroy them
And
because
Cam.
no, I don't want this. But
Yep. So
don't destroy them because they're fans of the team where they grew up. Like he's a Broncos fan.
Hey,
It's
it's
okay.
people are pumped about the Pats right now.
Yeah, and I'm
People-
happy
They're
for
not
them.
messing
But like,
around.
yeah, Noah. If you talk shit about the Pats, you're dead to me. So Derrick White, you're dead to me, kid.
okay. But
Yeah.
that's one thing to be like jokingly, he's dead to me. Jack, get the fuck. This guy's.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay.
no,
Jack,
no, we
Jack can
didn't-
do no wrong
no,
right
we
now
didn't-
because Jack can do no wrong because I had a 1,500 word article today and I deleted it and I could not retrieve it. I was about to have a meltdown. Jack retrieved it, so he
Oof.
can troll me in the chat. I don't care.
Wow. Well, we
He's
didn't know you were a
+2
Pats
on the
hater,
good.
but it's
I'm
okay.
not a
There's a
Pats
lot of
hater.
Pats haters. There's a lot of Pats haters out there, but they just keep finding ways to win defensively, offensively. You know, Drake May doesn't have to have the greatest game. He gets lifted up by, you know, some big turnovers, and he still throws 3 touchdowns. So I think if you're a Patriots fan, you're feeling #blessed right now. Heading to Denver, playing against a backup that, you know, used to be a Patriots backup. They've got plenty of information on Stidham. The coaching staff does. And Pat should go into Denver and win that game. Noah's going to bail because she's not a football fan. But Noah, thank you for joining us. Come back on and say bye. We'll let you go. Come back on and say bye. Noah, come on. Where is she?
Nice.
Bye, everyone.
All right, bye,
Go
Noah. We'll
Pats.
see you Wednesday. You'll be
Go
in Indy?
Pats. I'll be.
Oh, no, you'll be in
Indy's
Boston.
We're in Boston. We're in Boston.
Boston. All right, we'll see everybody back here Wednesday.
Will
See
Campbell
Noah.
bounce back game? Huh?
He needs it.
Yeah.
He needs it.
That's not on Twitter. Okay.
Yep, he
He's
needs
out.
it. He needs it. Anything else, Bobby, on this Patriots?
Well, it was
we
one of
had
my
fun.
favorite games I've watched. I love the coverage too. Post-game show was awesome in the snow. John out there in the hat.
It was great.
The whole scene, it was like one of those games growing up. Just the snow game and the level of dominance, everything going their way pretty much the entire game. And I thought it was going to be tough against Houston. Yeah, the crowd was nice.
Tell you what, Gillette's never going to come off as the loudest stadium because of the way it was built, and that's just the way it is. It's just not built to be loud. But the fans were jacked up yesterday, all game, before the game, during the game, after the game. Vibes were very high. It just feels like the Pats are back. It's crazy. It's crazy that the Pats are back in this situation. Teams go decades without tasting this level of success, and the Pats go like 3 years, 4 years, and it's miserable, but it feels like they're just kind of set now, moving forward with Drake May under center and just kind of building on that winning mentality here moving forward. So tough when you're a Bills fan watching this happen, seeing how their season ended, but it is what it is. That's what it's like being a Bills fan. It's like being a Patriots fan.
I do worry a little bit. The Denver game's become a walkthrough in many people's eyes because of the Stidham thing, and I don't know anything about Stidham, so I'm not just going to sit here and act like he stinks. Yeah, I mean, who knows what he's capable of? I guess people are saying like Sean Payton's backup quarterbacks have done well historically, and it's a tough field to play at, so you're not going to be at home, and their defense is incredible. And you haven't played great offensively against a couple tough defenses here, and this one's even tougher. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're just going to cruise to the Super Bowl. I hope that doesn't creep into their mentality now either, because I don't know. It's not like Bo Nix was like the focal point of what they were doing out there. Like they're a pretty well-rounded team, and they were the 1 seed for a reason. So it is going to be incredibly hard, I'd imagine. I thought Houston was going to be tough too, though, so maybe I'll be wrong. But I'm enjoying it.
Houston gave me Mavericks vibes, Bobby. All the pundits thought that Houston was going to come in here. Yeah, at the end of the day, the Pats were the better team. I think the Patriots are going to prevail in Denver, but I'm with you. Mile High is one of the hardest places to play, period. Whether or not the quarterback is a starter or is a backup, you can't go in there and overlooking that Denver team. They play hard. They're obviously a legitimate defense as well. And it's going to be a lot of fun, though. And it's right there for the Patriots, though, right? It's just right there for the taking. Go on there, take care of business, and you're back in the freaking Super Bowl, which is just unbelievable to say. So definitely check out our Patriots YouTube channel there, Patriots Press Pass. We had unbelievable coverage all day today, yesterday, last night. Taylor Kyles and Cadlick are doing their thing. We've got Bedard. We've got Giardi. Look at this. Look at this set. Snow coming down on the field.
Yards per attempt. A lot of stuff behind the line of scrimmage. Everything is schemed up. And
there's Zanis. Everyone wants to know, where's Zanis? Where's Zanis?
He's still at Gillette.
He's still at Gillette, yeah.
His athleticism, using his legs. Stidham can't do that. Can Stidham?
Stidham can move around a little bit. Yeah. He's not Bo Nix.
He can sling it, is what he can do.
He's in Patriots mode right now.
How old is he actually now? Wait, it's been a long time.
He's 45 years old. No, but
really
he's not
cool
shot, earlier.
John looks like me with the hat.
Yeah.
I don't know how Mike and Taylor were getting by without one.
No earmuffs.
No gloves either for Taylor.
No earmuffs for those guys. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. They knew they were going to be on the field. What are they doing?
Oh, it was probably awful.
Anyways, that's our Pats coverage. Check it out on the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel. Awesome coverage. Going to be going on all week. And I know that if the Patriots do pull it off in Denver, there's a whole team of guys going out to California to cover this Patriots Super Bowl 2 weeks over there for the Super Bowl, Bobby. You get the whole week build up, and then you got the game. So fun time to be a Patriots fan. Fun time to be a Celtics fan too. We will be back Wednesday night. Should be I think it's going to be a full crew Wednesday night based on the schedule that I looked at. So that'll be fun. Get the gang back together for that one, and then a couple back to back Friday, Saturday. So there's a lot of action coming up here, and we will have you guys covered. So for Noah, for Bobby, I am Jimmy. John and Sherrod will be with us next show. This is the Garden Report. Celtics drop 104-103 to the Detroit Pistons. They fall the season series 3-1, but we have a feeling that we might see them again, Bobby. So maybe a little revenge is on the horizon. But we're signing off. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Peace.